The studio lights of The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson glowed softly that night in Burbank. The audience had come expecting laughter, jokes, and the familiar charm of the man who had ruled late-night television for decades, Johnny Carson. Johnny sat behind his desk, flipping through his cue cards, smiling in that calm way America had loved for years. "And now," he said to the crowd, "ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is a man who needs no introduction, a true American legend, John Wayne." The audience erupted into thunderous applause. The curtain parted slowly. There he was, the Duke. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark suit that tried to hide how thin he had become. His famous cowboy stride was slower now, but the presence was still there. The man who had once ridden across the American West in films like True Grit and The Searchers still carried the weight of a legend. Johnny stood up and shook his hand warmly. "Duke, it's good to see you." John Wayne smiled, but his eyes told another story. They sat down. The audience quieted. Johnny leaned forward gently. "You've played heroes your whole life, cowboys, soldiers, lawmen. But tonight I just want to talk about the man behind those characters." Wayne chuckled softly. "Well, Johnny, most of those heroes were braver than I ever was." The crowd laughed politely. But Johnny noticed something different. Wayne's voice was weaker than before. "You know," Carson said, "a lot of people in this country grew up watching you. For many Americans, you are the West." Wayne looked down at his hands for a moment. "My father used to say something," he said quietly. "He said a man's job isn't to be perfect. It's just to stand tall when life tries to knock him down." Johnny nodded. "And you've had your share of battles." Everyone knew what he meant. Years earlier, Wayne had been diagnosed with cancer. He had fought it fiercely, just like the characters he played on screen. Wayne took a slow breath. "You know the funny thing, Johnny," he said. "People think actors are brave because they fight bad guys in movies." He paused. "But the real brave folks are the ones watching at home. The fathers working 2 jobs, the mothers raising kids, the soldiers overseas. Those are the real heroes." The studio grew very quiet. Johnny Carson, the king of comedy, suddenly had no joke ready. Wayne looked out into the audience. "My whole career, people told me I made them feel proud to be American." His voice cracked slightly. "But the truth is, America made me proud." For a moment, even the cameras seemed to hold their breath. Then someone in the audience began to clap. One person. Then another. Soon the entire studio stood up in a long, emotional standing ovation. Johnny Carson placed his hand on Wayne's shoulder. "You know something, Duke," he said softly. "What's that, Johnny?" "You're still the tallest man in the room." Wayne smiled, his eyes glistening under the studio lights. And for just a moment, the tough cowboy, the man who had spent a lifetime riding into sunsets on the silver screen, looked like a tired old soldier, finally hearing how much he meant to the people he had entertained for so many years. The applause continued long after the cameras faded to commercial. Because that night on The Tonight Show, America wasn't just watching a movie star. They were saying goodbye to a legend.